Hello and welcome to episode 15 of my Salem tutorial series. This episode is going to be on making a few basic tools. A wooden shovel, a wooden hoe and also a sharpened stick, which is a tool you can use with clams, I believe, to open them up. But for this episode it will act as a component for the other two tools. Next, a warning. Some episodes will be short and others will be longer than short. When you play a game with depth, you must come to expect this. Okay, warning aside, let's carry on. Yes, I know we were supposed to be picking cotton, but we can't picking cotton farm until we've done all sorts of other things. Life in Salem is never that straightforward, and it is a job for me to, with a game like this where you want to do one particular thing, you can't do it without having to learn a whole host of skills and having to go into many other areas in order to be able to do that one objective that you wish to do. You may well have seen me struggle with that in the Worm series. I don't know why I choose games that are going to give me a massive big problem on making episodes on them, but the theme of this series, just like Worm, is on a slow, natural progression of my character for you to see. Now, you don't have to follow my progression path, okay? It's also intended as an index series, so if in the future you say to yourself, how do I make a shovel and a hoe, a wooden shovel and a wooden hoe, then you can jump to this episode, which, funny enough, happens to be on making said tools. Anyway, first let's show you the contents of our compost bin that we made in the last episode. Okay, so here we are. I've just zoned in from sleeping in my bed. Let's have a look at the bin. Oh look, there's a butterfly. Yes, little butterfly, we're going to be playing with you soon. Anyway, let's right click on your compost bin. Notice here's all the items that are in our compost bin so far. Now generally, like I said, every 2 hours you will get a compost. I've been off since yesterday or the day before with this character, so as you can see I've got quite a few. Now there are two other items that can appear in your compost bin. One is a common earthworm and the other is a really big fat worm. I can't remember its name, but I'll get to it. Someone leave a comment if they wish to tell us all that, but for now we're going to be using them soon enough, or one will spawn in here soon enough, so then you'll see the name. Make containers and store the humus in them until we can begin farming. Leave the really big fat earthworms in here, because down here you'll see that, well, even with small common earthworms you get a worm efficiency, but the big ones give much more. For now, you can either, if your bin is not full, leave the common ones in here if there's not too many, or also build a container to store them in. We will get to them when we get to fishing, and they have many other uses, but fishing being one that I immediately think of. Notice that our organic materials, once you fill it up, it's good for over 2 days. So I will refill the bin once I've emptied these out into a container. Where I'm going to stick these containers, I have no idea. For now, I'm going to be creating a little box of containers, as you will see in the coming episodes, until I can start to make more money and start expanding, as the pilgrims did. Anyway, right, let's check my notes to see where we've got to. Right, now before I start on the contents of this episode, Ali Cat's mentioned about flat land in a comment and the need for it. That is very true, Ali Cats. Thank you very much for your comment. As always, your input is most helpful and useful. Wherever you decide to settle, make sure there is flat land. Eventually that is going to be in your claim, as it is time consuming to get land flat. But more importantly, you must have a high enough humus and a wooden shovel, or it will be difficult to even contemplate. Let's show you how you can tell if land is flat. So you find a spot and you want to have a certain amount of flat land in it. The easiest way for you to tell if there is flat land or enough of it in the area that you're going to claim, click on the little icon down in the bottom left that says Display Landscape Tools. Okay. Left click on the grab button, and now left click anywhere on the screen and drag the cursor. Now I will do a big area like that. Okay, I will let go of the mouse button. I will now left click the release button. Okay, now I can walk around and explain. Now, why is this area green? Why is this area red? And what's going on with this? Let's move that out of the way now. So let's zoom in and explain this. Okay, now by doing that, showing all the grid, what we're doing is it's showing us uneven land. This green area we can see here is completely flat, just this little bit. Yes, I didn't choose a very good spot to start the claim, but then I knew that I would be expanding the claim to a huge, massive size eventually. So I'm not worried about the fact that this is showing us here, it's all uneven, all completely unbuildable as flat land. But however, if we walk just to my north of where the grid is here, you will observe this is all virgin, fresh, flat land. And guess what? I will be expanding the claim this away. So I will be gaining all this flat land. Yes, your compost bins need to be on flat land. As I expand the ground, I will make room for my compost bins, which I will build along the edge, allowing for farmland to be also built. Also though, you will need a 3x3 flat area for, is it 3x3 or 6x6? Maybe it's 6x6, sorry, of flat land for our pilgrim's house. So bear that in mind. But we will be making lots of money, especially when we get on to small game hunting, which I intend to do. Our path to cotton is a long one, okay? We'll be doing small game hunting bunnies and crickets before we get to cotton farming. But that's a long way off and lots of episodes away. I will be showing you it, but bear in mind you will eventually need a 6x6 for your pilgrim's house. So I have the room up here. We will also make a baker's oven. That's another 3x3. So not to worry, we will make money, we will expand, and we will have flat land. But please bear that in mind. You will need a good area of flat land. All of this to my north is completely flat. Bear that in mind when making your claim. I don't want you getting upset with me because you have nothing but broken up land. Okay, that's all uneven and you can't build any flat structures like your compost bins. That only needed, remember, to have two, it looks like just over 2 tiles flat. Okay, so 2 of these square little squares. I'm going to describe one of them. I will call one of them boxes a tile, okay, just so don't get confused. It looks like to build the compost bin, as you can see, you need 2 flat tiles. So there we are. Okay, so bear in mind, make sure you're claiming next to some flat land, because we will need flat land. And thank you, Alleycats, for mentioning that so I could explain it. Okay, hopefully now you are compos mentis with that. Now back to what this episode is supposed to be on. So let's start by making our first tool, which will be a shovel. A tool needed to dig with, which we will be doing some of in the next episode. So naturally, that's why in this slow progress we needed to make a shovel, because I didn't want to cram too much into the next episode. The next episode is going to be a long one, but it's going to be a good one. Right, okay, to make the shovel we will need 4 wood blocks and 1 handle. Let's close this. Let's open up the inventory. So we will need to make this shovel, like I say, 4 wood blocks and 1 handle. To make a handle we will need 1 sharpened stick and 2 wood blocks. To make a sharpened stick we will need 1 wood block. So to clarify that in total we will need 7 wood blocks, which are of course these. You get these of course by chopping, right clicking on a down tree and chopping blocks, which I've shown you how to do already, so that's why I've got them already in my pocket. Okay, we will begin with the shovel. To make the shovel we will begin by making a sharpened stick, which we need 1 wood block for, as I've just mentioned. Okay, then let's start by making a sharpened stick. Now to do this we will need to use the whittling bench. Just to show you, we will click the craft window, we will click on the processing and materials, and left click sharpened stick. Now if we try to create the sharpened stick here, it tells us we need a whittler's bench. So let's walk over, right click on your whittler's bench, left click craft. Okay, we have a sharpened stick. We also notice whilst doing that got a piece of wood choppings. Always keep your wood choppings, very useful for many things, as tinder and as fertilizer. Okay, let's see, because I don't want to get knocked out. Okay, so we have our sharpened stick. Okay, now let's make a handle. So we will click on craft, we will click on processing and materials. Oops, no, we will click on tools, and we will click on wooden handle. Okay, so we have a wooden handle. We have the components, a sharpened stick and 2 wooden blocks. Let's click craft, remembering to right click on the whittling bench first and click craft. Okay, again we have some wood choppings, pick them up. You won't always get them, but it's random. Okay, we now have a wooden handle. Now let's make a shovel. So click on the craft, click on tools, click on wooden shovel. Okay, we see that we need 4 wooden blocks and a wooden handle. Click craft. Again, we need to be using the whittler's bench. So right click the whittler's bench and craft. Okay, again, being very lucky, pick the wood choppings up if you can. Sometimes it's not always so helpful, because sometimes when it drops an item too close you can't, oh there we go, or you just have to go at it from the right angle. But there you are, we now have a wooden shovel. Okay, we will be needing the shovel, like I say, for the next episode, so that is why we made it. Next we will make a wooden hoe to prepare us for our first hoe down. Yes, I'm being silly, let's just make the hoe. Hand me down that can of beans. Oops, I mean we will need 1 handle and 3 wood blocks to make a hoe. So a total of 6 wood blocks is needed, as you can see here. Okay. Basically, we need to rinse and repeat what we just did for the shovel. So we will start by right clicking on the whittler's bench, going to craft, going to processing materials and the sharpened stick. We will then click craft. We now need to make the handle, so we will go to craft, tools and wooden handle. We will right click the bench again and craft. Let's pick these wood choppings up. I kid you not, they are useful. You just got to play this mini game called How to Pick Up the Wood Chips. There we go. Right, so we got our wooden handle. Time to go to craft, tools and wooden hoe. Okay, let's right click the whittling bench and craft. And there we are, we are now proud owners of a wooden shovel and a wooden hoe, which puts us in good stead for when we get to farming. Yes, farming is a long way off still, but I thought whilst we're making a shovel, I can't do an episode on just making a wooden shovel now, for goodness sake. That just isn't Gamester's way of doing things. I thought let's make it a bit more productive and get ourselves a secondary tool, which is the hoe. So we're going to store the hoe. We won't be needing that for a while, but we'll be using the shovel soon enough. Okay, now to prepare you for the next episode, Salem is unique in the fact that I will have to get in the habit of doing this for you. So if for those of you that like to follow along with the tutorial series that I'm doing on Salem, you will be prepared somewhat for the next episode. For the next episode, you will need 2 abandoned cobwebs, 1 bug, either a caterpillar, a slug or a snail, and 1 butterfly, and we will put that shovel to use. So just to recap, you'll need 1 bug, so only 1 caterpillar, or only 1 slug, or only 1 snail. It doesn't matter which one of them you have, you'll only need 1, and 1 butterfly, and we'll do some digging. Wherever you are in the world, God bless you and keep every last one of you safe. Thank you for watching and have a fantastic day. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Goodbye.